What up? What up? What up? It's your boy AG the Dad. We are here for another episode of Shit Talking Sundays, his story with brother Tony.
What's up, brother AG?
Man,
Anthony Boogie?
I'm just trying to understand the history that we should know. But part of the problem is that we're not taught it in school. So what I do is I'm just open up a platform for people to sit back, relax, chit chat, and let's see if we can get to the truth. What is the
Let's
truth?
come up with some answers. Let's come up with some answers.
I mean, what topic you want to start with? Because I mean, we could go everywhere.
Well, with that said, this is the era of information. The truth is coming out, which slowly but surely, lies will turn into truth after a while. You lie long enough, the truth will come out.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of truth is coming out that we're not really from Africa. Most of us, 80% of us, truth is coming out talking about that we are originally from the Americas, from Alaska to Argentina, that we are the real Native Americans, that we are the real Indians, the first people, the indigenous people.
Okay. The true indigenous people are black, not Indian that we know, like the cowboys and Indians. Is that what you're trying to say?
Pretty much, for like cowboy, actually, fact, cowboy, when you say cowboy, that was the black men back there. I'll say so-called black, because black is not an ethnicity. Black is a color. I'll say so-called black. They called the black men back then, they called them cowboys. They called the white men cowhands. So let's get that straight right there. That's a facts. We were the cowboys. But yeah, it's coming out. It's coming out that, of course, we were paper genocide.
Mm-hmm.
And, went from Indian to pretty much colored, mulatto, Negro, African American. Jesse Jackson, he came up with that one.
Okay.
So we're just trying to find the truth. A lot of the truth is coming out, and all you have to do, a lot of black people say, "Oh, I have Indian in my family."
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns to find out that you are the Indian. Indian means indigo, which translates to blue black. That's what Indian is. But the colonizers, they called it savage. They called, Indian means savage. No, it means indigo.
Now remember, everything you hear today is Brother Tony's perspective on history that he has did his due diligence to find out. I encourage everyone to fact check anything that he says. Comment in the comment section, and if you have a question or concern, hey, don't be afraid to put it in the chat, or you can email me at agthedad@shittalkingsundays.com, and I could see if we can try to do our research to find the answer to what you're talking about. If you're enjoying what you're hearing and you want to know more, make sure you hit that subscribe, that like, and share, please. But anyway, back to what you were saying.
Well, my brother, pretty much, if you think I'm lying, challenge me. Go do the research. I'm just putting it out there for you. I don't know it all. I know a little bit of something, though. I'm here to make you think.
Outside the box. Thinking outside the box.
Yes.
Think deeper. As an example, the Yeezy thing. I was tripping off of that.
Right.
What's your stance on Yee?
Are you talking about as far as the interview he did?
Let's talk about the comments he made about the Jews, and the comment he made about blacks being slaves was a choice, and also Adidas and other companies canceling him. Those three things.
Well, Brother Yeezy, that's what he likes to be called, Yeezy. As far as the comments he made about, let's start with
The blacks.
how can I be anti-Semitic when I am Semitic?
Mm-hmm.
In the Bible, you have Semitic, you have the Semitic people, you have the Hamitic, which is supposed to be the so-called Africans. You have Japhet, Ham, Japhet. What is it? Ham, Japhet. You got Shem, Ham, and Japhet. Okay, so Semitic. Now, me personally, the Bible is a spiritual African book. It's a spiritual African book. When he says, how can I be anti-Semitic? And he is Semitic. If you look in the Bible and you study the Bible and you study the curses in Deuteronomy and all through the Bible and the prophecies, you will find out who fits those prophecies. And those will be the so-called blacks here in America, in the Caribbean. Deuteronomy 68 verse 28 says we will go away to another land on slave ships, and we will be sold on auction blocks to our enemies. A foolish nation will take us to a land where the tongue we wouldn't understand. So I can see him when you're studying the Bible and you see those curses fit the children of Israel. Well, who's going through those curses today? That would be our people, our so-called black people. I love to say indigenous because everywhere we go on this planet, we are indigenous to every four corners of this earth.
Right, right.
But I don't think there was nothing wrong about him saying that. He was speaking the truth. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan,
Mm-hmm.
he came to his defense. That was very good. That was very good what he said. And there was nothing that he said that he lied about. Now, as far as his analogy on slavery was a choice, I don't know what the hell he was talking about on that one.
You know what?
Tell me what you think about that.
Before I get started and give you my point of view,
Okay.
let's bring Brother Cedric on, because I'm sure he has a point of view that he wants to talk about.
Oh, I see we got him here.
Brother Cedric, how you doing, man? Can you hear me?
Well, you know what? He just walked out the room. Let me say this. This is a brother that I've been knowing for a year through work. I've been knowing him for a year, and I see how he moves. I really like this brother. Hey, Cedric, can you hear us, brother?
I got to put his headphones on.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, there we go, brother. Can you hear us good?
Grab my headset, put my head.
Yep. You might want to pull your microphone closer. Oh, you're using that one? Okay.
Okay, so you hear us good, brother.
We can't hear you. No, we can't hear. Your connection is. No, your connection.
It's delayed. It's delayed.
We might have to do your call from the phone. Huh?
Well, let me take the headset. I was lagging it.
There you go.
That sounds a lot better.
Can you hear me better through the laptop camera?
Yeah, I can see you.
You're doing good. Yep, it sounds good.
Cool.
For a second we did, but not anymore. Hey man, we might have to just have you do the call in because it's not your audio is not good.
And you know what? Don't worry.
Yeah. Let's do it this way. Yeah.
We'll do a call in.
Your internet is not fast enough. I'm gonna call you on your phone.
Okay.
All right. Hello.
Hey guys.
Hey, how you doing? See, that's way better.
Way better.
All right, brother.
Yeah, this will probably just be better. My laptop is not. It's not too good. It's a really old one.
Yep. But so what we were talking about is what Yi said about.
Well, hold on before we go on to that.
Okay.
Before we go into that, now, Cedric, what we'll do, we can always bring you back at a later time. We're just gonna have to do it this way for now. But I know you want to present stuff and show stuff. So we definitely can bring you back a later anytime, but right now we just have to do it like this, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine with me as well. Not really tripping.
Yeah, we just got to work on your getting you a better connection. Once we get that together, it will be good. And so back to what I was saying with Yi.
Well, let me introduce him real quick. Let me let everybody know who he is,
Brother Cedric.
Brother Cedric. Brother Cedric. This is a brother that I met at work. Always a cool brother, very helpful, and what he does, his work ethic is amazing. I just want you to know that. I've been peeping you out. We've been working for each other for a year. You've always been a cool brother. And one time I stepped in and I had my indigenous shirt on, and it just clicked something in his brain, and we got to talking about it. And this is where we're at now. And I want to introduce you. Your name is Cedric. Last name, is that Brazil?
So, yes, my name is Cedric. Last name Braziel.
Braziel.
Yeah, like I often get my last name like Englishized, where like we pronounce it in English as Brazil.
Okay.
But if you look at like Brazil on a map, like the spelling is different. But when you pronounce my last name, like using like etymology, it's Braziel. My last name is Braziel. That's actually how you would pronounce my last name.
Mm-hmm.
I know you wanted to talk a bit about, like the Moorish science, Moorish culture. You're probably really familiar with like the family names of our people, which is Bay, Day, Al, El, and what did I say? I said Bay. We also have Day. We have Al, El. There's a fifth one. Just it's just slipping my mind at the moment.
Oh,
But
go ahead.
But yeah, in my last name, my last name it holds the a title of El. It just like just refers to like our one of our families or clans, however you want to see it as.
Right. Tribal name.
Yeah, like tribal names. Really, all of that is it's American. When you really dig down into like the terminology when it was being used in history, those 5 tribes, they represent the Iroquois Confederation. That was all us. We set up the Constitution for foreigners to come here and live underneath our rule.
Well, check this out.
I think before you go that deep, I think you got to go back a little bit, because people are probably lost, wondering what are you talking about, because we can't assume that everybody on here understands and even knows history and what the truth is, because most of our youth, as far as they're concerned, Christopher Columbus discovered America.
Correct.
And also Cedric, before we dive into that information, my brother Anthony here, he wants to ask you a question. Before we get too deep into that right now, he wants to ask you a question about a certain situation. We want to get your intel on that. Go ahead, brother.
What is your view on Yi and what he said about 3 things? One, that blacks being slaves was a choice. 2, what he was talking about the Jews and how they run everything, and whatever else he said that was derogatory that that upset the Jews, and 3 was, what was the third thing that I wanted to ask?
Wasn't that pretty much it?
I know there was a third thing, but we can start with those two, and when it
About
comes
to
to
come,
me,
yeah.
I'll remember. I'll ask you.
So actually, I remember when Kanye was talking about slavery being a choice that Black people at the time had submitted themselves to. He first touched on that about like 2 or 3 years ago. It may have been 4 years ago, and it caused controversy over the internet and a lot of communities, and a lot of people were backlashing against Kanye West for saying that. But the thing is, slavery actually was a choice for us here in the Americas. We did fight a lot of wars known as the 7-year war, which is like Indian wars fought against the French and the Dutch, and we were defeated. But for a long time, like we waged war against foreigners coming to our land and enslaving our people, well, really murdering tribes that were along the coast. But after we were defeated, there was a union between the Iroquois Confederation and the British Crown, and that's where what Kanye West is talking about, slavery being a choice. It actually was a choice because we outnumbered foreigners on the land by a large amount of resource. People is there what I mean by resource. There was way more people, Aboriginal, indigenous, natives on the land. We may not have had the weapons to combat them, but the reason why I agree with Kanye West on it being, it mostly being a choice, is when you look at a lot of the plantations that we believe to be foreign owned, they actually were not foreign owned. They were ran by us. We owned the land, we owned the plantation, we owned the knowledge to cultivate tobacco, to cultivate cotton. A lot of those sugar cane and things like that were native to the Americas, which I also was listening to you guys when I was trying to talk about, Africa and the Jews and everything. A lot of Africans, you talk about slavery and whatnot. There's no way that we could come here from Africa and cultivate the tobacco crop as well as we did, especially not knowing how to read. Because we all know the stories of roots. They weren't allowing us to read. They weren't allowing us to communicate in our own language. They weren't allowing us to, be educated. So there's no way you're bringing millions of slaves here to what's the word? Tend to the land, to cultivate the land that they have never been, and cultivate crops they have never worked with. That's one big like red flag for our youth to really look at when we're going to school and they're teaching us that we were slaves on the plantation, and they're teaching what we were cultivating, the crops that we were farming for their profit, sugarcane, tobacco, gold, and silver. When they teach us how we pretty much was used to build up their wealth, there's no way that one white person is educating 1,000 slaves who don't know how to read, write, or even speak English.
So Cedric, real quick, Cedric. So pretty much you're telling us that, okay, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, all the stuff that was happening to us during this time, you're telling me this was a choice for people to be enslaved because, yes, we took care of the tobacco. My great grandmother owns a tobacco farm that we still have in North Carolina. And I know they say a lot about indentured servants, talk about like how the Irish came over and were, working for their debt to pay it off, to be free, to get their freedom, to get land. They were also giving people fake Indian IDs, like the $5 Indian, if you ever heard that.
$5 Indian.
Right. But what you're saying that it was a choice, because that's kind of hard to fathom. To
I think what he's saying is, as a people, they chose to submit. It's
Yes.
because, like you were saying, we had the numbers. We just
Right.
chose to submit. I'm not going to say that blacks as a people are a submissive race, but we are a caring race initially. If you think about it, any creature that breathes air and has consciousness, if you treat them horribly, enslave them, beat them, just give them deplorable living conditions, you will turn any race into a savage state. I don't care if they're black, white, green, or yellow, anything, even a caged animal, dog, lion, tiger, you don't feed it, you give it minimal resources, they will turn and become something that you don't want. So for us, the reason why I believe that they go, oh, they're savages, is because for a minimum of 400 years, they enslaved, beat, murdered, pillaged, separated us, all kinds of other things. And um, when it comes down to it, the scars of that have been forwarded through generations um, is why we have what we have now. Because as they were trying to fight the integrations of black and white, they were trying to control everything by separating the families and destroying families. And once they started doing that, that's when they just created chaos in the street so that they can incarcerate our youth,
right,
incarcerate our people.
For him to say, for Yeezy to
but
say
you have
that,
to think deeper.
well, yeah, I get that, but
people don't think deeper. That's why they up. But the problem, this was the question that I had. If you have the fact that he said what he said about blacks and slavery being a choice, and then he said what he said about the Jews, but then Adidas went ahead and canceled him. My problem with that whole concept is, why did Adidas cancel him because he made a comment about Jews, if that was anti-Semitic or whatever? Him just saying something that society, without thinking deeper, interpreted as him being crazy and saying some bad stuff. Why didn't they cancel him for saying that initially?
But
because
he
didn't fit the narrative for them.
Well, see,
or anybody for that matter.
With that being said, black people made Adidas who it was. When it came out in the 80s about Run DMC, they launched that with the jumpsuits, with the My Adidas. They really made them pop. Even in the Olympics, they had the blacks wearing the Adidas then. You know, Muhammad Ali, he was wearing his boxer shoes, was Adidas. Like, we're the ones that got that popping, like we always do. You know, we got that popping for them. So what Kanye said to me, what Yeezy said to me, it was nothing but the truth. I mean, he was real slick about it. He said, I'm jealous of them. That was brilliant when he said, I'm jealous of them. He did not say anything. He just said, I am not anti-Semitic. I am Semitic. I'm jealous of them because how they got their stuff together, how they're doing it. I want to be like, I want my people to be like that. So he was very just on how he said it. He didn't say anything disrespectfully. So for them to cancel him like he did, and as far as the slavery, people had a choice. Okay, like how you put it and how you explained it, when you say something broad like that, you need to explain what you're talking about. So I'm like, are you trying to get are you trying to make controversy?
No, here's how you should. I would like to say people should look at things. Sometimes when people, that's the problem why there's so many disagreements and battles, is because just because somebody says something, people automatically have tunnel vision, like their blinders on, and they look at whatever they say and interpret it one way, instead of, just like the purpose of this podcast, Shit Talking Sundays, I want people to think deeper and outside of the box.
Right.
So,
but not everybody does that.
Right, and that's why there was so much
that's
backlash.
Also why I'm here with you guys, is I want to promote not so much a deeper thought, but an expansion in our thought, or almost an open mind. Because what Kanye said about slavery, if you look at it too deeply, you will get tunnel vision. But if you open your mind to it, we can see the entirety of the whole, which is, yes, slavery for the people, how AG said, and also how Drostafari has mentioned in the chat as well, with the PTSD, our women being raped, the gun being introduced, and as well as us being the elders of civilization, we're going to look at the future. We're going to look forward in time, which is why, Ye was right with slavery being a choice, but he was also wrong, because for the first 500 years of Europeans being on this continent, we was murdering them. Like, they didn't come here and live peacefully. They sent colonizers first. They sent their navy first. And they landed here and they warred and they lost and they kept coming back. And eventually, they introduced new technology, cannons, guns, and PTSD, trauma.
Right.
They killed all of the men. Once all of the men were dead, the warriors were dead. Of course, we're going to choose to wait and bring our warriors back into existence to continue the war, which we do see the war being continued right now. We just don't see ourselves fighting. We see the hybrid fighting us, because it's become a spiritual war. So it's on the next level. It's no longer just physical, and they can't really win on the spiritual plane.
Okay,
but what I wanted to add to your guys' conversation with Kanye West and the Jews is that to really understand why Adidas canceled Ye on that is because when he talked about the Jews, it was very different from him talking about slavery, where he didn't denote who we were talking about slavery. But when he talked about the Jews, I only watched maybe like a 5-minute like Instagram thing where he mentioned how we are the Jews. Mm-hmm. And that's where he was canceled in telling the truth on who the Semitic people are, and who the identity thieves are trying to steal our identity, which are, the hybrids who are now the ruling Jews, like Pope Boniface, whatever his name is.
Brother Cedric.
Yes, sir.
Cedric. Don't mean to cut you off, but I want you to explain, but just keep it short a little bit because we have questions, but we're digging this. I'm loving what you're saying. But I would like you to expand when you say hybrids. Can you expand on that for us real quick? What do you mean when you say hybrids? I know what you mean, but I want my audience to understand.
So when I talk about the hybrid or the hybrid European, as our audience may not really be aware that European does not mean white, and it does not mean black.
And you do have black Europeans, white Europeans, Go ahead.
But the original Europeans, who were the aboriginals of Afro-Eurasia, they were melanated. They weren't black people. They were melanated people. Right. And the hybrid European, the reason why we refer to them as hybrid is because when you look at them, they are actually hybrid. They are mixed with us. Right. Who knows the actual truth? You could say that,
I would say Dravidian.
They're mixed with our DNA.
Yeah, Dravidian people, which are Indians. When you look at the phenotype of the Dravidian, they have the European looking features. The Dravidian are the very dark. They're like the darkest people on the planet. They migrated down from Ethiopia down to India. And the Dravidian is pretty much Indian, but they're real dark, but they have the straight hair. They have the slim nose, small lips, And yes, that's from my research, that's where I'm getting like albino pretty much. But yeah, like you said, hybrid race. So it's not like it's a racial thing. We're just bringing out truth. So I don't want people to get upset. I don't want people to get upset about what we're saying. We're just bringing out truth. But go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yes, that's why, instead of saying like going into racism, I just use the term hybrid because
Right.
they are mixed.
Yes.
They're mixed with us, and they're also mixed with a more primitive hominoid, which it could be the Neanderthal, it could be the Denisovan.
Well, they have
But
7% Neanderthal. They have 7% Neanderthal in them.
yeah.
They have the RH blood type, which is rhesus monkey, which is the canine in the rhesus monkey gene.
Now remember,
yes.
everything that you're hearing, fact check
check
yourself.
Message.
I don't want
Excuse me?
I don't want YouTube to say, oh, they're misinformation. No, I want you to check anything that you hear on Shit Talking Sundays. Fact check it. Come back, comment,
Fact check, yes.
and call us out, or call Brother Cedric, Brother Tony out if you feel that they're being misinformed, because we do want to know what is the truth. This is history. Whose story is it? Is it his story or our story?
And a lot of this information comes from their people, their scientists. You don't see a lot of black archaeologists going out there digging up stuff. A lot of this research, what we say, is from the Caucasian race, but just like Anthony said, look it up. Don't take our word for it, look it up. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, Drostafari, he Jeridian.
Right.
He's asking about the Jeridian people. I can try and spell that.
Are you talking about someone in the comments?
Yeah.
Yes, there's a person in the comments. His username is Drostafari.
Yeah, Drostafari.
Yeah, actually, I'm not too sure how to spell Jeridian.
Not sure either. But we can they can pretty much look it up. We can just keep on building, because we want to stick on this topic. And maybe we can get to their questions later, because we want to stick on the topic and get that flow session going on.
Yep.
Yeah,
so we do have some people in the comment section that helped out with the spelling.
There we go. That's what's up, Dravidian. That is it right there.
But
if you look up Dravidian, like if you look up Dravidian albinos, that's something to look up right there. The albinos of the Dravidian people.
Yes, because that is where our gene is actually being split.
It's mutated.
Not sure how many people have heard. Yes, mutated.
Yes.
I like to think as mutation as to include everybody. Mutation is not a negative, nor is it really a positive, but it is mutated genes can be good for
evolution.
for hybrid Europeans.
Right.
Excuse me?
I was saying, evolution. For evolution.
Yes, evolution. Exactly. Yes.
Okay. There we go.
Unfortunately, for hybrid Europeans, their mutation, it was detrimental to them, as Earth is in the habitable zone of our closest star, which is the sun. So for life to really exist in that habitable zone, one necessity was melatonin, which absorbs those ultraviolet rays as nutrient. And their mutation, was detrimental to them, as they didn't have melanation to take in ultraviolet energy and turn it into a nutrient for them, which is why they were moved to Albion or the Caucasus Mountains
in Russia, Georgia.
The climate is different, and the sun there is different. It's not as much sunlight around the Caucasus Mountains. It was better for the albinos, and they were moved there, by their family members for a specific reason, as it would be a better environment for life for them.
Well, brother, like, yeah, they had to, because it is kind of bad in a way, just because they're recessive genes, and that's why they had to go to that climate. Like us as melanated people, we can go anywhere. We can thrive in the snow, we could thrive in the hot sun. So the genes are recessive. Like as far as the eyes being green, blue eyes, it's recessive. It's a little bit weaker. It's a recessive gene, but that doesn't make him, like, that doesn't make it. You know what I'm saying? It's not a racist thing.
It doesn't make it a negative.
It
doesn't.
Yeah, and I see why how you say that. Yes.
Or a negative or a positive. It's just, it is what it is. That's why I use the term hybrid, because I feel like it is a more neutral terminology. We live in a time where there's a lot of racism. It's a lot of supremacy.
Right.
And we also, a lot of people are not very receptive to science and other ologies,
Right.
So I like to use those terms.
And check this out, brother. Also, I wanted to get into another question. Now, when you have all these different races on the planet, all these different ethnicity, you ask Asian person, what's your ethnicity? I'm Chinese. I'm from China. I'm Indian. I'm from India. Now, with us losing our history, losing our language, losing our last names, our ways, if I ask you what ethnicity are you, I'm wondering what you would say, because when you ask a black person, what is your ethnicity? They start off with a color, black. That is not an ethnicity. I'm African American. That's the name of
a color. Black is the absence of color.
Exactly. And you ask a black person, what's your ethnicity? I'm African American. That's two continents. You ask a black person, what's your ethnicity? Oh, I'm a Negro. So we're the ones with this problem. We're the ones with the identity issues. So if I ask you what's your ethnicity, what would you tell me?
I would tell you that I do not have an ethnicity.
You said what?
He doesn't have one.
I do not have an ethnicity.
I heard that.
And just to make a correction, to that, is we are not the only people suffering from the identity problem. Okay. Because when the ethnic backgrounds, Chinese, Mexican, Black, white, Asian, Japanese, the Aboriginals of those areas, they never went by those terms. Those terms are actually English words. Exactly. When British colonized the world, and they bred in with all of our women. Like with your Chinese, right? You're pretty much saying that you're a hybrid, because wouldn't
they be a hybrid? Wouldn't they be, because the original Chinese were black? They migrated.
Yes, they were black, exactly. And they were their tribe, their national background was Zhang. Zhang, it's spelled with a Z, ZHOUNGONG. Zhang, which is the background for Chinese. But after British people came in, and we created with each other a new the hybrids were being born. Exactly. This is where we get Mexican people, or the Chinos, which is like if you go down to Peru and you see a lot of the people down there, they look Asian, and they look Asian and black. Though they're lighter skinned, but their facial complexions are almost, their facial structure is Asiatic in their structure, and their pigmentation of their skin, is brown or olive or beige. But they look.
Oh, go ahead.
You know what's so crazy? So, I did a road trip to South America one time.
Oh, wow!
And I was driving through this small village, in Mexico, and they had like this little convenience store. It was like just a little, little,
Little bodega.
yeah. It was almost like a covered up,
Like a
hot
little
dog
shack.
stand.
You're right.
Well,
right.
when I walked in, there were what I perceived as Korean people in the back, behind the counter, and I was like, "Hey, are you guys Korean?" And they looked at me and they said, "Como?" And I was like, "Como?" I was expecting them to speak to me in Korean, not thinking that we're in Mexico. They, and I said, "Hey, are you guys Korean?" They said, "No, we're Mexican." And I was like, "How are you Mexican? You're Korean?" No, no, no. My parents are from Korea, but we were born here in Mexico, born and raised.
Say it again. Como?
Como. When people say como,
Oh,
what'd
wow.
you say? Como? But they were born and raised in Mexico, so they identify as Mexican. And I was like, wow, but you look Korean. So you do see blacks who say I'm Mexican. And I'm like, the only race you really don't, you really don't see somebody, I don't know.
Well, we got to think, see, just like what he's saying, we got to think out the box as a people. We need to go and explore the world because we're just used to this little box up here. We need to.
Yeah. Yes, they don't want
to explore,
black
learn.
people to leave the United States.
Yes, we need to learn these different cultures, stuff like that. People would never know. He just dropped a gem, He just dropped a gem on you right there. I would have never known nothing like that.
Hey, it blew my mind when I walked into the store. I mean, me being half Korean, I could see a person and say, "Oh yeah, that person is definitely."
Shout out to the Koreans.
Yeah,
I say, yo.
When I see a Korean person,
you can
I can
see
tell.
yourself in them.
Yeah. So when I look at her, I go, "Oh man, you're Korean." Now it's just crazy to see in Mexico. As far as I was concerned, they moved here, and they opened up a shop saying, "Hey, I'm gonna make some money," just kind of like you see here in more so in LA, Koreatown. You see, the Asians opening up convenience stores. So I was like, "Oh well, shit." What threw me off is why would you want to open it in Mexico where you would leave one third world country to come to another third world country and open up a convenience store and think that you're gonna make a lot of money. So I didn't really think about it, but when you really get down to the root of it, it was just psychologically, as Americans, we don't expect to see all these different races in particular countries. When you go to Korea, you see almost all Koreans. When you go to Japan, you see almost all Japan. When you see Japanese, the only time you see anything different is close around military installations because that's where they've been integrated. So for me to go to Mexico, where I know that America doesn't have any military bases, it's like, especially when I was hundreds of miles into Mexico. So for me to be like, whoa, oh my God, there's Koreans. Okay, cool. Hey. And I even said, "Annyeonghaseyo." They looked at me like, "What the hell did you say?" And they spoke Spanish better than me and with the accent and everything. And I'm not disrespecting anybody by saying what I'm saying.
Right.
It was just a trip to see it. You see it in every place. After the war, even in the Philippines, you see a lot of blacks.
Right.
Even though blacks are in damn near every country from the beginning of time. But the fact that you don't expect to see them in countries that when somebody says to you, he's Russian, you expect to see someone that's fair skin, straight hair. You don't expect to see a black person with nappy hair. And they are in Russia. That's everybody remember,
they are the natives of Russia.
Right. You wanna the drink white Russian, okay, and then they had black Russian. They didn't just make that for no reason. There's blacks and black Koreans. It's just crazy to see everything that's out there. But you were telling us, because we spent a lot of time on Yeezy, but you were telling us that you have a book.
Yes, I was telling Aunt that I'm working on a book. I could read it. I could read it actually real quick to you guys.
No, you know
Well,
what?
I've
look,
You know
done
what?
the
No, check this
introduction
out.
right now.
well,
This is what I want to
Yes.
do. I just want you to give the name of the book, maybe give a real brief summary, but I want to bring you back another time and we'll just
definitely.
specifically talk about your book. I don't want to. I want people to have a reason to come back to hear you again.
Yes, we're
So
gonna have you on a couple
we
of
gonna
times.
we
like,
want to do
yeah,
this again with you. So
definitely.
just say the name of your book, and a little bit about what the content is, and then we'll go from there.
And then also, if you just keep it brief, because I have another question that I want to get into with you. So yeah, go ahead, promote it, man. It's all on you.
Well, I'll just keep it brief because I actually don't have a name for my book because
That's okay.
I'm typing it right now. I'm really working on it. I
Okay.
do a lot of studying, so I'm trying to gather a lot of information to comprise into the book. But the book is pretty much an autobiography on myself. It's re re it's re-uttering the education system from the Rockefeller family that we all grow up with. We all go to the K through 12 system, and we have their education presented to us. That um, Woodrow Wilson, he did this where he made an autobiography that is now used to teach us all history, which is pretty much history from his perspective. And it's a 10-volume book that is being used from K through 12 to teach all of our youth history,
Right.
but from Woodrow Wilson's perspective, which was done in 1912. So I'm actually copying off of Woodrow Wilson and doing the exact same thing, but from my perspective. So that is what the book is. It's really the context of it is United States history from the Aboriginal man's perspective.
That's nice. And actually, I wanted to get into this next question this next question about how did you find out that you were an Aborigine to this land, knowing that we were taught that we were Africans and shipped over here? How did you did you find out through word to word passed down from your grandparents, from your mother, or did you find out on YouTube and did your own research? Real brief, can you let me know about that? How did you know that you were an Aborigine of the Americas?
Well, it was very spiritual. The first person that told me that I was an American was my grandmother, Iona. And she told me this exact words. I remember it. I was a baby, but I still remember it. She said, "I'm Cherokee, but tell everybody that we're black." That's what she told me.
Right.
When she was telling me about her family. And I never forget it. She put me on, Christianity and the Bible. She would read it to me while she's taking a shit in the bathroom. But it was really my grandmother. She shared her background with me and her family. And growing up in Baytown, Texas, a little north of where they did the Treaty of Guadalupe.
Shout out to Baytown, Texas.
And so that's where it started. And really, after that, that was my first universal download for me being an American. And when I became conscious after graduating through high school and having their brainwashing done to me, my mom, it was the women.
Mm-hmm.
It was the women in my family. My
the
family is
first teachers of the
women,
child. Sometimes
yes,
the only
she
teacher.
pushed it hard on me. She had me in FOI, which is a Nation of Islam men's meeting.
That's the next question I was going to ask you about. Also, the religion.
Before we go any further, if you like what you see, like what you hear, give me the thumbs up because that'll help the algorithm go and we get the word out a little faster and further. Don't forget to subscribe so we know that we are definitely reaching the people we need to reach. And please don't forget to share because each one teach one, as my boy would always say, Mr. 365
in the building.
So Yeah, get back to what you were saying, because we in the we're in the final lap. We're in that that final stretch. We're running out of time until next week, so we're gonna have to cram a lot in 10.
Yeah, and we definitely, you definitely got to come back. And before we leave, the last 3 minutes, I got something for you that you're gonna like. I got something for both of you actually that you're gonna like.
Okay.
But yes, go ahead. So so with the religion part, your grandmother was a Christian and they threw you in um they threw you with the what'd you say? You were
The Nation of Islam. My
Nation
mom
of
forced
Islam.
me when I was young. She forced me to go to all out in Oakland, California. She forced me to go to
Can
FOIs
we
and
all get
all
forced?
these Nation of Islam meetings, and I would hate it. But
Right.
what came out of that was an elder. His name was Taj Tariq Bey. My mom would force this information on me. She never gave up hope, which is why if there's any women out here who have children, I would say, even though it may sound bad that I'm saying my mom forced me to know this, share the truth with your children, because this actually changed my life. It sparked consciousness in my existence.
And that's another reason why we're doing this. So if there's young people out there, they can watch this and they can go do the research themselves and teach their kids the truth, because we've been taught a lie for so long. And it's time to break those family curses with everything.
Yes, sir.
Information is power.
And that's how I got into this information. It was till this day I feel like I'm supposed to do something big, because
You are.
I've met Sabir Bey, I've met Taj Tariq Bey, these guys who on the internet, they were
Shout
trying to
out to
reach
them.
me through the internet. They did not know who I was, but they
Right.
were trying to
That's
reach me with their lived experience and all the knowledge they accumulated.
What is their names again? Taj
Tariq Bey.
Okay.
You can look him up on YouTube,
Okay.
along with Sabir Bey, along with brother Cujo, who he's out of Canada. These guys are elders to me. They're mentors to me. I would attend lectures by them on the internet at the House of Reawakening Minds, and that's really what sparked me. And it was almost like a different language. I would sit in these lectures, not know what the hell was being talked about, but the thing is once they talked about something I knew, my mind geared toward it because I already knew it. And that's where I then began becoming captivated with the information, is because I was taught all that they have been teaching, but it never came from the perspective of a melanated person. It was always a white man giving me their perspective of world history, and it was never an Aboriginal, indigenous individual sharing knowledge.
Right.
So once I got the information from myself, I feel like Sabir Bey, Taj Tariq Bey, Brother Cujo, as well as you and AG, you guys are versions of me. You are my elders, and you guys are trying to reach, y'all trying to reach us, the youth. You guys have lived here before us and accumulated knowledge before us.
And it's amazing. It's amazing, brother, that you are your age and you know this.
Yeah.
That it's a beautiful thing. I don't know if you want to say your age, but
Ali, thank you, Drostafari. Ali, that is the one our fifth family name is Ali.
Okay, yeah.
Shout out to Noble Drew Ali as well.
Noble Jewel Ali. Yes. I know a lot about him actually. That's what's up. Man. It's just with you being a young man, a young soldier, and what it's so amazing. And we got to get this information out. This platform is for people like you. We need the youth to know this knowledge, to understand. They're so worried about who's popping it and selling. They're looking up to the drug dealers. They're looking up.
You got to understand the reason why they're looking up, our youth are looking up to drug dealers, is because television and the movie industry has
Wow.
has
yes.
glamorized materials.
Yes.
When we come into money as a people, we automatically want to buy the Bentleys, the Ferraris, the Louis Vuittons, the the Burberry and all that.
We never
other stuff.
had nothing.
When that does not that doesn't signify status. Okay,
Exactly.
you being able to travel freely, you being able to eat whatever you want to eat, you being able to afford the things for your children that you want to without any issues. That is being rich.
Right.
You don't have to floss in front of everybody. Hey, man, I got the fattest car. I got the baddest whatever. Because at the end of the day, somebody could take it, or somebody could burn it up, or it could break, and that is gone. But everything else, you can't take that from me. Knowledge. My father always said to me, son, if you want to know the world, just keep living.
Your father was a wise man.
That's all you have to do. Just keep living.
Pretty much.
If you keep living, will see at some point you will experience life. Now, it might not be as full as others, and that's what makes everybody different. And that's why, I brought this together. I'm not real woke in the respect of knowing history as well as you two brothers do. But I am a believer that being good to one another, no matter what race you are, will get you further. I'm not going to say that me or somebody else being nice to other races is going to get you next to the Most High when you die, but I would say that it's definitely going to be a good start to where you need to be, no matter what race you are. Even if you are not the Most High's chosen people, I'm sure that he will look favor upon any person who is trying to do good by his inner.
Well said. Well said. Well said, Anthony. And with that, how much time we got left? We got a little bit of time. Okay, well, check this out. Got a little game I want to play with you real quick. I want to ask you a couple of questions. Let's have some fun. We're going to bring you back. Don't worry, but let's have some fun real quick.
Okay.
Okay. Michael Jackson or Prince? What you like better?
Man, Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. What about you, brother?
I am real
you
biased.
Look like a Prince, brother.
No,
he looked like a Prince.
I'm biased.
You ain't got no butt out jeans, do you?
And let me tell you why. with Michael Jackson, I'm biased for two reasons. One, when I was growing up, my mother, she loved the Jackson 5, so she would never cut my hair. My afro was so big that if I turned my head sideways, it would do this, it would do the shake.
Yeah.
And two, because when I first got into television video production, when I was working for Celebrity Scene News. Oh, we're good.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
With Celebrity Scene News, I got to hang out with Joe Jackson on
couple
of
that's what you
occasions.
was telling me. Yeah.
And granted, he was probably a very stern man. He was also a
man's
very
man.
Educated. He was definitely a man's man, and he was well educated in the arts, and he understood the music business. He may have had the same views that ye did, but I don't know for sure, because
you had to be smart doing what you did, man.
But he just knew that hard work and dedication was going to get you
rest in peace, Joe
to
Jackson.
the finish line.
Out.
Yes, he was a great man. Shout out to the Jackson family. Yes, your father was a great dude. At least to me, when I met him, he was solid. What he did to anybody else, I can't speak on that because I wasn't there.
Okay, got another question for you. Mike Tyson or Andrew Silva?
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson for you too?
I met Mike Tyson. The first time I met him, he was an asshole. But I met Mike.
I hear that a lot.
I met Mike Tyson when he was still a boxer and his head was still big and he was still, that guy. he was still the most feared man on the planet. And then I met him after he retired, and he was more humble, and he got into his. This is right before he started his cannabis business, and he was definitely more humble and a wiser man. And he was definitely, I don't know if the Nation of Islam helped to wake him up to the trials and tribulations of life, but yeah, he was definitely came from an ass to a decent man.
Okay, I got Superman. This is gonna be tricky. Superman or Blank Man? You might be too young to know who Blank Man was.
I gotta go with Goku because I don't fuck with Superman.
Okay, Blank Man, that's cool. Superman or Batman? So we going with Batman.
Batman.
I like Blank Man. Damon Wayne, shout out.
Batman is an American. He is an American deity. If you look up Batman, Batman actually exists in South America as a warrior deity for us.
Wow. Dope. Look, dropping that knowledge.
Do your own due diligence. Look it up.
Okay, next question. Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole's.
Kendrick Lamar.
What you got?
Ooh, that's hard. I don't like either of them.
Well, let's scratch that.
Actually, I like J. Cole. I like his music because I'm more R&B-ish.
Okay.
But I think Kendrick Lamar just has a little bit more on the pen.
I really like Kendrick Lamar a little more. I really like him more. I'm gonna go with Kendrick. Now, next question. Yeah. Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant?
Kobe.
Michael Jordan.
Why?
I gotta go with Michael Jordan. Yeah.
You hear the static?
And that was the one thing that I remember from my dad was Michael Jordan. He liked Michael Jordan. And because my dad liked Michael Jordan, and the 3 years part of my life, Jordan always liked it.
Okay.
He always gave me strength to do sports and everything.
Are you walking around?
No.
Oh, okay. I got one more question for you. We're gonna take it back. We're gonna take it back for you. One more question. Since you didn't know about really Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole's, let's take it back to back in the day. Teddy Pendergrass or Luther Vandross?
Luther Vandross.
Look, there you go.
I love Luther Vandross.
I gotta go Luther. Yeah, Luther all day.
Luther all day. Luther all day.
Was made with Luther.
Man. Okay, Luther all day for me, brother. Hey,
but you couldn't start your legacy without Teddy Pendergrass and turn off the lights.
Turn off the lights. Hey, that's my karaoke song, man. Hey, one more question for you. Did you have a good time, my brother?
Man, I had a great time. I was really looking forward to this, and it really got my eyes open. You know, I feel alive right now.
Hey, see, that's a beautiful thing, man. And you will be coming back. You will be coming back. We sooner than later, my brother. Sooner than later.
I'm gonna have a lot more concise information to share. I'm gonna concise a lot of my stuff next time I'm on.
Yeah, we're gonna let you go. We're gonna let you go.
Intro. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, this is the first time.
We might even be able to work you into the thing where you could be on here on a regular, because it seemed like we flow real
definitely.
well. And the whole purpose of this is to really to get the word out. I want to educate the masses. I want people to think deeper, think outside the box, and see if any of this makes sense. Because we have a lot of our leaders in the past who have said they've asked us not to believe what our eyes are seeing and believe what they are saying. And our eyes don't lie. We have common sense. We are grown. We are educated, and we have reason, and we are sensible. So
that's right. That's right.
We need people to see things, hear information, and interpret it and digest it and see if it makes sense. Because a lot of our history is being changed to fit other people's narratives.
Yes.
That
Make them
remember,
comfortable.
yeah, because remember, life is forever. When we die, life still goes on. Don't think
Yes, it
that
does.
anybody on this face of this earth now or ever has been will live forever and be in history forever, because we have found even right now that thousands of years ago, these kings that we had, these pharaohs that we had, they've been history has altered them and changed them. Think about how many different ways Jesus Christ has been interpreted. Think about how many different ways what I call the Most High, other people call him God, Buddha, Jehovah, whatever else. So for me,
yeah,
what is the truth? What is the true race? What the true religion? You know, because if we all agree that there is only one God, then how can there be so many different religions? Or is one religion the truth, and everybody else is just a social club that everybody gets together and they talk about who they believe is the truth?
you know what? And one thing that I could say real quick is, when it comes to religion, I mean, it starts wars, but you never hear wars when people say, I'm spiritual. You know, man, it's a trip. So that's something to think about.
Well, Brother Cedric, any last things you want to say to everybody? Your phone is breaking up. There you go.
I want to thank you guys for having me on. You know, just a little more information for the both of you. I actually was just having a breakdown.
You're breaking up, brother. You're breaking up, brother.
Oh, well, it's, I don't know. I was having a breakdown the other week where it gave me the thought to, you know, start creating content, and then Anthony showed up, you know, and we had a talking, and it was like the universe was speaking through him. You know, he was, you know, the response, you know, with this podcast, and this is, you know, I feel like it's a blessing to be on. I'm really glad that you guys welcomed me on here, and we had this time to communicate with each other and strengthen our community.
Yep.
Well, you're part of the family now, brother, so you got to come back.
Yep.
How about that?
Hey, I'm gonna come back, man. I'll come back even stronger.
Yep. Well, thanks, Brother Cedric. I appreciate you coming, giving us some knowledge. We will have you on again, hopefully, shoot, the next show.
Well, we have a brother coming in. My cousin, actually. We're going to be speaking about the Bible. That's going to be real interesting next Sunday, 3 p.m. Pacific time. But you know, please come log in. You know, maybe you can, you know, jump on too. Like we'll see what's up. We'll talk about it behind the scenes, but definitely you have to
I'll
come
be
back,
tuning
brother.
in to Shit Talking Sundays.
Yes,
That's right,
we
man.
definitely want you back on, and anybody else who got something to say, man. You know, I'm definitely open to giving you a platform to say what you got to say. Let me hear what you got to say. I like to think deeper. I like to think outside the box. I have a thirst for knowledge. So, you know, thank you for being on the show. Brother Tony, thank you for being on the show.
My
I will
brother,
see you
always.
again next
That's how
week.
we do it.
Just remember out there, question everything, because history might be just that, his story, and not the true story. So question everything, even this, because Brother Cedric could be wrong, but he's probably right, but he could be wrong. And Brother Tony could be right, but he could be wrong, but he could be right.
I could be wrong.
Check it out. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button. Let everybody know that every day is Shit Talking Sunday, and this is his story.
Thumbs up.
Peace.
All right, guys.